Hello guys, my name is Desmond and I welcome you to my YouTube channel. So guys, I hope you're able to see on my screen. So for today's lesson, we'll be looking at a chapter called Sequence and Series. So we'll be doing question 3 of this question paper of November of the year 2017. So remember guys, for the purpose of today's lesson is just to run a test and also to just warm you up for the upcoming questions. So I've just selected one of the easiest questions in relation to this chapter. So it won't be that much complicated and I assume you'll enjoy this lesson. So ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, I would encourage you to just quickly smash that subscribe button, and again, if need be, you can just click on the bell notification so that you're notified of our future uploads. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, question 3, as you can see, 3.1, we are given a statement which says, given the finite linear pattern. There is the pattern is 12, 17, 22, up to 172. Okay, so guys, very much important. I always indicate to you that there's an instruction in the statements, and again, a useful information is found in the statement. When you read the questions, they're just going to guide you in terms of how to provide the answer, but most of the information will be based on the given statement. If we had a diagram, then you obviously know that you answer the questions where the information is based on the given statement and the diagram. But in this case, it's mathematics. We just have the given statement, as you can see on this chapter. So we have read the statement. I think we can now start with the first question. Okay, so let me just quickly write that information. So we'll be doing question number 3. So we are given the finite linear pattern, which is 12, 17, 22, 172. Okay, so this is what we're given, guys. Most importantly, before I even start with the questions, this is what I normally do, and this is what I used to do when I was in grade 10. So the first thing, before I even start with the questions, I try to find out the type of that given pattern. Okay, even though for this question, you can see, guys, they've mentioned that given the finite linear pattern. Okay, so this is a good indication that it's not one of those complicated patterns. Remember, you can have a geometric sequence, you can have a quadratic sequence, you can also have an arithmetic sequence. Okay, so this is most likely to be arithmetic sequence. So I'm just giving you this task to find out if linear pattern and arithmetic pattern is the same pattern. Okay, you can just find out for me. As soon as you find out, if you already know, you can just comment to indicate that linear pattern and arithmetic pattern is the same type of sequence. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, assuming that we're not told that this is a linear pattern, as I've indicated, what I do before I even start with the questions, I try to find out that to find out what is the type of that sequence. Okay, and most importantly, guys, for you to be able to know if this type of pattern is an arithmetic pattern, it's in most cases where you are given the first 3 terms. Okay, you will notice shortly why you'll be given the first 3 terms. So let's try to find the difference of this pattern and see if we've got the common difference. Okay, So 17 minus 12, even if you know it by heart, at all times I rely on a calculator. It's 5. Okay, so that means we've got 5. And again, this calculator, I don't know what's wrong with it, but I just know that when a calculator gives you a problem, you can just smash it, there you go. So 22 minus 17, it's equals to 5. Okay, so guys, can you see we've got the first common difference? Okay, so now that we've got the first common difference, it means this is an arithmetic sequence. Okay, so it could be a confirmation that when you talk of a linear pattern, we talk about arithmetic sequence. Okay, so now because we're dealing with arithmetic sequence, we know we are most likely to use this formula. Tn is equals to A plus into n minus 1 close D. Okay, so you might find that for us to be able to tackle questions related to this pattern, from time to time, we might refer to that formula. Okay, so based on what the question wants, we'll then be able to use that formula to answer the questions. Okay, so remember guys, the general formula for determining the first difference, it's term 2 minus term 1. Okay, so let me just write 2 there and write term 1 there. Okay, or otherwise you can just say a term, what is it? You can even find it using term 3 minus term 2. Okay, so it's just a, you know, the term and then you subtract the previous term. Okay, you subtract the previous term from the next term. Not sure if it makes sense guys, but it's that easy. It's not that much complicated. If you are in grade 10, 11 and 12, you already know this information. Okay, so I think before I start with the questions guys, let me just quickly try to explain this formula. I won't go into detail, but I'll just indicate in the general stuff. So we've got Tn, which is equals to A plus into n minus 1 and then D. Remember, this is multiplied by D, so you multiply the whole of this by D. Okay, so we've got the nth term. This is what we call the nth term. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let's say for instance they want you to tell us what is the fourth term. Okay, so if a question says the nth term, it refers to that particular term of the sequence. In this case, let's say they want you to calculate the fourth term. Okay, so it's more like the question wants you to calculate the fourth term, right? Of which it's normally written on this formula as term 4. As term 4, which is equals to the whole of this. Okay, so it's very, very much important, guys, that you realize how the questions are asked. Okay, if the question says the nth term, that means they want you to write the general formula of the given pattern. Okay, but now if they specify to say the fourth term, they want you to tell them what is the term there. Okay, because obviously you've got term 1, term 2, term 3, then you should be able to use the formula to calculate the fourth term, right? So we can still make use of the first difference to know what is the fourth term. But in some instances, you might find that they want you to calculate maybe the 50th term. Okay, so you can still do it manually by just adding. Obviously, you know, for you to get 17 from 12, you add it by 5. So it's more like 12 plus 5, it gives you 17, and then 17 plus 5, it gives you 22. So now 22 plus 5, it should give you term number 4. If you want term number 5, you just add by 5, okay, because 5 is the common difference throughout the entire sequence. Okay, so now if you want to find the 6th term, you just add this term. Obviously here you're going to get the 4th term. Let's see, it could be 27. I think 22 plus 5, it should be 27, which is the 4th term. For you to get term number 5, you just add by 5, you get term number 5. Term 6, add by 5. So you continue by adding by 5 up until you get to term number 50. So for you to keep on adding by 5, it will take you forever, guys. So we use a shortcut to get to the 50th term. What is the shortcut? This is the shortcut. Okay, so this is the formula that you use in order to get to any term of this sequence. For example, guys, they might also request you to calculate the 97th term. Okay, so can you imagine how long it will take you to keep on adding by 5 by 5 by 5 by 5 up until you get to 197? If this question is this question paper, the whole of this question paper, if it's 1.5 hours, then it might take you up to 15 to 30 minutes for you to keep on adding by 5 until you know what is the number for the 197th term. So instead of you having to add by 5, we use this formula. That's why at all times you're encouraged to use this formula. And again, marks are allocated based on the usage of this formula. If you keep on adding, you might find just a mark for your final answer and you miss some marks in between. Okay, but this is the shortcut that you must always use. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that's what I've been trying to explain with regards to nth term. Okay, so that means in conclusion, Tn refers to the nth term, to the number of the term on that sequence, not necessarily that sequence, but any given sequence. Again, we've got A. Ladies and gentlemen, A is very, very much simple and straightforward. You know, on your alphabets, you've got the first letter as A. So now that you've got A as the first letter of your alphabets, when it comes to sequences, the first number of the sequence or the pattern is referred to as A. Okay, so A is the first term. A is the first term of the given sequence. Okay, very, very much important, guys. And again, we can refer to this A as T1. Very, very much important, guys. You've got A, which is the first term of the sequence or the first term of the pattern. And again, this A, we can refer to it as term 1. Okay, so that means this is T2, this is T3, this is T4. Okay, but because we had those 3 dots, not sure if you still remember, guys, we had these 3 dots. It means we've got some numbers in between up until 127. Okay, so those numbers in between, because of we've got some numbers in between, that's why we cannot tell what term it's 172. Okay, so we can make use of this formula to know what term of this pattern it's 172. Guys, this chapter, especially when it comes to the nth term and these numbers, it could be confusing. I know when I tried to study this chapter by my own, I had a lot of confusion. But after some time, after I've done a lot of examples in the textbooks, I then noticed the difference and the similarities. Then when I tried to solve the previous question papers, that's when I learned how the question are asked in relation to this chapter. And again, I've learned how the questions differentiated what I thought was similar in terms of the N and the TN. Okay, so guys, when it comes to A and D, straightforward. You might be confused by TN and N. Okay, but guys, I'm hoping before the end of this lesson, actually before we start with the first question, you should be able to notice the difference between TN and N. If you're not confused by these two, consider yourself very much lucky. But for the purpose of accommodating everyone, I'll just assume that 1 in 10 learners get confused, so that we make sure that even that one learner is on the same page as everyone. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've already explained what A refers to. So now let's talk about N. Okay, so N, guys, is the number on that pattern. For example, term number 3. Term, where can I, okay, let me just write it there. Term number 3 on that pattern, it's equals to 22. Okay, so that means term number 3 is what we refer to as TN. Okay, and then this term number 3 is equals to N, which is 22. Okay, I'm not sure if this makes sense, guys, but I hope it does. Okay, so let's just try something else. Let's say, for example, term number 2 on that pattern, it's equals to 17. Okay, so in short, we are saying T2, which is term number 2 of that pattern, it's equals to N, which is 17. Okay, so when we say the nth term, which is Tn, okay, we want to know what is the number for that nth term. For example, when we talk of term number 2, we want to know what is that number for term number 2. Okay, so term number 2, it's equals to 17. Okay, so guys, very much important. Very much important that you understand this part. Okay, and remember, guys, a pattern doesn't necessarily mean that it will always be positive numbers. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean that at all times it will be numbers. For example, you can have 2x, you can have 4x, you can have a 9x. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. You can find this, or you can be given this as a sequence or a pattern. Okay, assuming that also this one that I've given you as an example was a linear pattern, you know that the first 2 terms will give you the difference, and obviously the third and the second term will give you the difference. And because it was specified that this was a linear pattern or an arithmetic sequence, then you know you've got what we call the first common difference. I used to call it the first CD. So the first CD, according to me, meant the first common difference, which refers to arithmetic sequence or linear pattern. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, because you've got the first CD, it means this CD and that CD is the same. Okay, that difference and that difference is the same, just like you've seen on this given pattern that this difference and that difference is the same. So that means they're equal. Okay, very much important, guys. So now when they say what is T3 of this given pattern as an example, then you obviously know that it means term number 3, it should be 9x. Okay, so that means 9x is n, and then T3 is the nth term, which is term number 3. Very, very much important, guys. Only if you can understand this part, then you're almost there. So remember, guys, on the formula we've got D. I've already explained what is D. D is just the difference, okay, of the second term minus the first term, okay, or the term minus the previous term. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we can now get ready to start with the questions. I can tell you now, guys, you should be ready to answer these questions. And again, after this lesson, you will notice how easy this chapter is. Regardless of whether you're dealing with a geometric sequence or a quadratic sequence, it's not that much complicated. So now question number 3, let's say 3.1, we're given a finite linear pattern, which is 12, 17, 22, then we've got 172. Okay, and I've just indicated that this is always my starting point. Then we've noticed that was 5, 5, and we had, this is our first D. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I think we can now start with our first question, and I assume you're able to see the questions on my screen. If you're not able to see, guys, if you just click on your screen, on the right top corner there should be 3 dots. If you click on those 3 dots, then you click on quality, and down there should be advanced. You can just click on advanced, and then from there you can select the quality. I'm not sure if it's 380 or 480p. The first one, or the one at the top, you can just click there, and it's going to adjust the quality of this video, and you're going to be able to read what is written on the screen. So let's see. So the first question says, which is 3.1.1, determine a formula for the nth term of the pattern. I'll just read it for the last time. The question says, determine a formula for the nth term of the pattern. Okay, very, very much important, guys. They want you to calculate the nth term. Okay, so remember, I've just indicated that this is the formula that we'll be using. Tn is equals to A plus into n minus 1 multiplied by D. Okay, so most of our answers will be based on that formula, I assume. So, ladies and gentlemen, the question says, 3.1.1 says determine a formula for the nth term of the pattern. Okay, so they want us to calculate a formula for the nth term. So nth term, guys, nth term is Tn. I've just explained that nth term is Tn. Okay, so this is the formula that we're going to use to calculate the nth term, which is that one there. So we know Tn is equals to A plus into n minus 1 close times D. Okay, so how do we now determine the nth term, guys? Because this formula is Tn, which is already in that form of nth term. Okay, but guys, the question says determine the formula of the nth term. So that statement from determine up to the nth term, this is the formula. But now they say nth term of the sequence. Which sequence? That sequence. Okay, very, very much important, guys. So that means we're going to use the information of that given pattern, okay, to now determine the nth formula. So now, very much easy, guys. Very much easy. And most importantly, before we even go far, let me just indicate to you that this question is allocated how many marks? 2 marks. Can you see? So for those questions which has got little marks, guys, just know it's not that much difficult. Okay, so they just want you to substitute all the information from the given pattern and simplify. That's how you write the nth term. Okay, so what is A of this pattern? So you remember, guys, A refers to the first number of the given pattern. Okay, so that is our A. Okay, the first number of the given pattern. This is the given pattern. The first number is 12. So that means we've got 12 there plus into n. Okay, minus 1. What is our D? We know our D is equals to 5. Okay, very much important, guys. Our D is equals to 5. Okay, so guys, let's now proceed with this question. I'm just trying to think of something, guys, of which I assume I didn't get that formula incorrect. Okay, so let's see. I know we've got what is it? This is n minus 1. I'm just thinking if it's n plus 1 or n minus 1, but I hope it's n minus 1. Let's just continue for now. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we've got, remember the reason I'm saying this, guys, is because this is a question paper for a grade. This is a question paper for grade 11, and most importantly, as you can see, we are not given the formula sheet for this question paper. So I assume in grade 11 they don't give you formula sheets, so they expect you to know those formulas by heart. Okay, so I also didn't want to copy or to get that formula from the previous question papers for grade 12s, because I think I still remember that formula, guys, because you know I used to know all of these formulas by heart. So at all times I try to just not refer to the formula sheet, and the reason to this, it's so that in case if I make a mistake, I can then be able to show you how I recover from my mistakes, because it's very much important that, especially when you practice, guys, please allow yourself to make mistakes. Okay, because the more you make mistakes, the more you realize what type of mistakes are associated with that particular chapter that you'll be doing. But if you want to be 100% when you practice, if you want to be perfect in every question, the day you make a mistake, especially in an exam, you're going to lose confidence. I can tell you, guys, you're going to lose confidence. That's why I encourage all of my students not to copy when they practice or study. Just try to use your mind from what you know. Okay, because I can tell you, as we continue with this question, if somehow something doesn't make sense, then that's when you will notice that I might have made a mistake somewhere. Then what matters the most is how you recover from that particular mistake. Okay, so I'm just assuming this formula is correct, and based on the initial the mini lesson that I gave you before we started with this question was correct. But what I like is that sign, it didn't matter that much. Whether it's positive or negative, it doesn't in any way affect all of that information that I've given you. So guys, let's now continue. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you multiply that 5 by n, you multiply that 5 by 1. Okay, so you obviously have 12, which is plus, this is 5n. Okay, minus 5. Okay, very much important, guys. So let's see. So that means when we simplify this, we've got 5n, and we also have 12 minus 7. Okay, let's just write 5n, which is plus 12 minus 5. Okay, so now what is 12 minus 5 is equals to 7. So that means we've got 5n, 5n plus 7. Okay, what is this, guys? What is this? So this is your nth term of the given pattern, which is what the question wanted us to calculate. Okay, very, very much important, guys. So remember, this question was allocated how many marks? It was allocated 2 marks. Okay, so where do you score your marks, guys? They will just give you 2 marks for your final answer. Okay, you don't score any marks there. You don't score any marks there. You don't score any marks there. And again, guys, remember, in most of the questions, especially when it comes to mathematics, they don't give you a mark for the formula, unlike in physics. So you should know these formulas by heart. Okay, so they're actually testing your understanding. So ladies and gentlemen, can we just perform a very, very quick exercise to test something, to test if this formula is correct? Guys, let's check what is term 1, let's check what is term 2, let's check what is term 3. Okay, using this formula. So obviously our term 1, as I've indicated, it should be 12. Our 12, I mean our T2, it should be 17. Our T3, it should be 22. So let's now try to check. So you just take out your calculator, and then from there you punch 5 into what is n there. N is 1. You close, you plus 7. Can you see? We get 12. So this is promising, guys. We get 12. When you test for term 2, just go to the formula, delete that one, and press 2 at 17. There you go. So guys, it's promising. Then we go back, you delete, and then you punch 3, 22. Guys, I'm now confident that this formula is correct. So this is this serves as a confirmation to me that what I've done is correct. Okay, so that formula, it's actually a minus there and not a plus. Okay, very, very much important, guys. So now I think we can now move to question 3.1.2. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let me just write this formula somewhere there, so that in case if we need to refer to this formula, we don't lose it. Okay, which is Tn, it's a 5n plus 7. Okay, so I'm just going to erase this information, or should I maybe just bring, let me just bring a new clean board so that we just don't lose the whole thing. Okay, but that will mean I might need to rewrite that information again. So this is question 3. We have what we have. It's 12, 17, 22, then 172, and the formula was Tn is equals to 12n plus 7. No, not 12, but 5. Remember, guys, if you've got something to write, as I write, you can just only note important information. So this is 5n. It was plus, let's see, it was plus 7. Okay, so now let's move to the next question. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this video and you've watched it this far, it means somehow you're getting value out of these lessons, and I would advise you to just please do like the video or comment by just giving me a feedback. So Ladies and gentlemen, let's now move to question 3.1.2, and the question says determine the value of T12. So this question is allocated 2 marks. Okay, so the question is asking what is T12. Okay, remember guys, this is the position for n, right? So they are saying on this sequence, we want to know what is the number on the 12th term. That's what they want you to to indicate. Let me just do this exercise quickly, guys. We have 17, we have 12, isn't it? We have 17, we have 22. So they want to know 1, 2, 3, let me just do this, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is what they want to know, guys. What is the number on term number 12? This is what the question wants you to calculate using that formula. So obviously, guys, because we know the difference is 5, okay? So that means if you want to manually, listen to this very carefully, if you want to manually do this exercise, it will obviously take you some time, as you've noticed, but it's doable, okay? It's manually doable, but it's very much advisable that you use the formula, because one thing that I know, the marks are allocated based on you applying that formula. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so they want you to tell them what is the number for term number 12. Just like if the question said T3, they're asking what is the number of term 3, which is 22. So now they're saying what is the number on term 12, which is that one there. So if we just continue adding by 5, 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 we are going to get the number for term 12. Okay, I hope you understand, guys. That's why in the beginning I've indicated that if they say what is the number for term maybe 117th term, that means you're going to add by 5 by 5 by 5 up until you get to that term. So it might take you a bit longer, okay? But for the purpose of educating you on how this chapter works, guys, so I'm going to do it manually and again use the formula and see if we get the same answer. That's why I was saying this formula, it's a shortcut to what I'm just going to do shortly manually. So you can just take out your calculator, guys. I think this is going to be an interesting exercise. So guys, let's see. We've got 22, you just plus 5, okay? Plus 5, we get 27, okay? Plus 5, you get 32. So now you no longer need to just add 5, add 5, add 5. Just say it's equals to, because on the calculator, it's answer plus 5, which is 32. If you say it's equals to, then it's added by 5, is 37. Equals to 42, equals to 47, equals to 52, equals to 57, equals to 62, equals to 67. So now, can you see, guys, the answer that we get for T12, it's equals to 67. Okay, so the reason why they want you to use this formula, it's because it shows you how you got that answer. But if you write 67, it's more like somehow you got it from a friend next to you, okay, which is an indication that you might have copied that final answer. So you need to show exactly how you got that answer as 67. So ladies and gentlemen, that means when we use this formula to calculate term 12, we should get 67. If we don't get 67, then it means this formula, it's not a shortcut for this chapter. And again, it will mean my formula or my general formula or my TN formula, it's not correct. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can't wait to test that formula. So let's see, how do we do it? The question wants us to calculate 212, and you know this is the position for n. Okay, so that means in place of n we substitute 12. Okay, so this is equals to 5 into, remember, in place of n we substitute 12. Okay, plus 7. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let's now punch all of this on a calculator and see if we get a 67. Okay, if we don't get 67, guys, I'm just ending this lesson now. So you see what my calculator does now. It wants me to beat it. So guys, let's see. It's a 5 into 12 close plus 7. Ladies and gentlemen, that means my statement is correct. I hope you've also punched 5 into 12 plus 7. Can you see you get 67? Okay, so that means an answer to this question is 67. Okay, very, very much important, guys. So you score a mark for correct substitution, and again you score a mark for your final answer. Okay, very, very much important, guys. This question was allocated 2 marks. Okay, so they give you a mark there and they give you a mark there. Okay, so guys, what question was this? We're solving for question 3.1.2. okay, so this question is done. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we can now move to the third question. Okay, so I hope you are enjoying these lessons, guys. That's why I was saying this lesson is just to warm you up. It's not necessarily for those complicated questions. So I assume when we'll be doing those complicated questions, you know, you'll be very much excited, and again you're going to enjoy those lessons. Guys, you can just quickly have a glass of water. If you've got a glass of water, so I'm also having a glass of water while I'm having this lesson. So ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look at question 3.1.3. You know, I'm just thinking about this question, guys. I think it's one of those questions which will even make this lesson interesting because I still have a lot to explain. So this question is also allocated 2 marks. That means not that much complicated. They just want you to show all the necessary steps. Okay, they're just testing your understanding here, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, very, very much important. Okay, very, very much important. They are saying determine the number of the terms in the pattern. Determine the number of the terms in the pattern. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, very, very much important. This question 3.1.3, they want to know how many terms are there on this pattern which has the first value as 12 and the last value as 172. Okay, guys, let me do this. You remember from the previous question 3.1.2, we had 12, we had 17, we had 22, we had let's say until 67. Okay, so guys, if we had a pattern similar to this one, okay, remember there's a relationship between that pattern which is given and this one that I'm giving you now. The only difference is that the last number of this pattern is 67, but there it's 172. Okay, so the difference is here obviously I've indicated the difference. So if the question says determine the number of the terms in the pattern that I've just given to you in this pattern, what they want you to tell is how many terms have you got where the first term is 12 and the last term is 67. This is the first term and this is the last term. Okay, very, very much important, guys. So that means for this kind of terms where they just give you the first few numbers of the sequence or the term, and they give you, and they do da 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 da, then they give you the last number, you are most likely to be asked to determine the number of terms in the pattern. Okay, remember this is term 1, term 2, term 3. You'll be having term 4, 5, 6, 7 up until this term. So they want to know how many terms have you got for this pattern. Okay, so coming back to this pattern, guys, you know this is the 12th term. Let me just say this is the 12th term. Do you still remember, guys? If you do remember, just give this video a like. Okay, from the previous question, guys, we did that manually to see what was the 12th term. So now what the question is asking you is to tell how many number of terms you've got in this pattern. So an answer to that question would be you've got 12 terms. You've got 12 terms. This is what the question wants you to give as an answer. Okay, so let's just now try to answer that question. I hope you fully understood what the question wants from you. So guys, because 172 it's too far, guys, we cannot manually do until we get to 172. So let's just use our shortcut. Okay, so on this formula, guys, on this formula, what they want you to calculate, it should be that n, guys. It should be that n. Okay, so remember the formula is Tn, it's equals to 5n plus 7. Okay, so now they want you to calculate that n. Okay, so obviously, guys, that means Tn, it's equals to that last number. Okay, so that means where the last number is 172, what is the number of that term? Okay, 5n plus 7. Okay, so what you do is just to solve for n. Okay, so you obviously know that you're going to subtract this by 7. You're going to move it to the other side. Let me just write in full steps. Obviously it's minus 7 because it was positive, it changes a sign, and then you have 5n. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you need to remove that 5. Okay, so you just divide by 5, you divide by 5. Okay, so this 5 is going to cancel, then you remain with n, which is equals to the whole of this. Okay, so on your calculator you just do fraction pattern, or otherwise you can just say 172 minus 7, it's equals to that, and then you divide by 5, you get 33. Okay, 33. What is this 33, guys? What is that 33? 33, I know someone will say 33 is an answer to our question, but I just need a bit of explanation, guys. That means for this linear pattern, you've got 33 terms, and the first term is 12 and the last term is 172. That's what that 33 means. Okay, very, very much important, guys. Remember, this question is allocated 2 marks. Sorry, guys, this question is allocated 2 marks. Okay, so now where do you score your marks? Obviously, for that equation where you equated the whole of this to 172, this is where you score your first mark. Obviously, your final answer will be allocated a mark. Okay, so that means for this step where you show how you get that 33, you don't score any marks there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, very, very much important. I think we should now move to the next question. So guys, I hope I'm not confusing any of you. I'm trying by all means to be understandable, and again, I'm just trying to be as slow as possible so that we don't lose each other along the way. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's now move to 3.2. Given the first 4 terms of a linear pattern, 3x, y, and 30. Sure, guys, this is going to be an interesting question. It's allocated 4 marks. So, guys, the first 2 marks, will be dependent on your thinking capacity. So, for the fact that this question is allocated 4 marks, okay, doesn't necessarily mean that this question is complicated or it's difficult. They just want to test your understanding. Okay, you just apply all of these basic rules that we have applied with the first 3 questions. Okay, nothing complicated, nothing tricky. Given the first 4 terms of a linear pattern, so that means we are still dealing with the same type of pattern, which is arithmetic, which is given as 3x, y, and 30. The question says calculate the values of x and y. Guys, I think I will just remove all of that because we are now embarking on a new question, which is 3.2. Okay, so you're given a linear pattern as 3x, y, and 30. Okay, very, very much important, guys. You're given those 3 not 3 but 4 terms. Okay, I'm just trying to think about this, guys. It's an interesting question, and again, I'm just thinking of how I can make it simple so that you all understand. But I assume at this stage, guys, this is towards the end of the year. I assume most of the information you already know about it, and you won't be confused by the information that I'll be giving to you. So, guys, remember, before I start with any question, this is what I do. I hope you still remember. If you've watched this lesson from the start, you remember I first find the first CD. Okay, so the first CD, it's x minus 3. It's x minus 3. Okay, then I've got that, which will obviously be y minus x. Okay, then from there I should be having that, which is what is it? It should be 30 minus y. Okay, very, very much important, guys. If you remember from the previous questions, we noticed when we got 5 that the first the first 2 terms, they give me a difference which would be the same as the difference of these terms. Okay, so that means these are equal, guys. These are equal. By saying equal, it doesn't necessarily mean they should look the same or anything of that nature. It simply means you can equate these two. You can equate those two, even though we've got some what do we call? We've got some letters, which is x and y. Okay, so you shouldn't be confused by the x and y. Okay, very much important, guys. So let's see. Can we equate these terms, this difference, and try to solve for this x and y value? Obviously, if we equate this difference, or this first difference, we should be able to have formulas which we can use to then make maybe x or y the subject of the formula, and then from there substitute in one of the formulas, and then from there I assume we can be able to then determine either the value of x or y and substitute into the third equation. So in short, guys, it seems like this is one of those simultaneous type of equations, even though it's not a simultaneous equation, but you might need to simultaneously solve for x and y. So guys, this and this are equal, this and this are equal. Let's just quickly try to check something. So x minus 3 is equals to y minus x. Okay, and again what is it? And again y minus x, it's equals to 30 minus y. Okay, let's maybe take this as equation 1. Then again y minus 30, it's equals to y minus x, it's equals to 30 minus y. Okay, assuming that this is equation number 2, let's then now try to make something the subject of the formula, and that something could be x, it could be y. Okay, so let's just now use this first equation to make x subject of the formula. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm solving this assuming that you're not watching, and again I'm solving this assuming that I'm the one who is in exam room. So please take your time, especially when you're practicing. Take your time, think about it, just talk. Even if you're alone, talk and listen to what you're saying, apply your mind, and from there, I'm telling you guys, you will get the right answers. And you know, because now I'm doing this lesson for you guys, I'm also going to show you how you prove if your final answer is wrong or correct. Okay, so please make sure that you don't miss the end part of this question. Okay, so now let's make x the subject of the formula. Okay, so that means we've got x, which is equals to y. Wait, guys, very much important, very much important. It's important that you try to check which letter between x and y will be suitable to make the subject of the formula. Can you see, guys? I've actually attempted to make x the subject of the formula from that equation. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. Okay, so very much important, guys. Let me just continue with this question so that you notice what I noticed. Remember, I've indicated it's very much important that I say, it's very much important that I say this, guys, because what I'm about to say is very much important. Ladies and gentlemen, when you do this type of questions, think deep about what you're about to do. Okay, think very deep about what you're about to do. And it's very, very much important, guys, that you make mistakes, especially at this stage. Make a mistake, learn from that mistake, and make sure in exam room you don't make that mistake. So let me just quickly show you the mistake that I was about to do, but it's not a deadly mistake, because anyway you were going to recover from this mistake. I'm trying to make x subject of the formula, so that means I'm trying to move everything on this side to the right so that I remain with x on the left. Okay, so that means I've got whatever I got, I've got y, which is that y minus x. Obviously this is going to be plus 3. Okay, so can you see, guys, it won't be possible for this equation to make x the subject of the formula, because you've got two x values there. Okay, you can still make x the subject of the formula, but it's going to be a bit difficult for you to continue with that x being the subject of the formula. Let me show you how, because you're going to move this to the other side, then that means you've got positive x, then you remain with 2x, which is equals to y plus 8. Okay, then you divide by 2, you remain with y over 2 plus 8 over 2. Okay, can you see now you've got y over 2 plus 4 as x. That means you're going to substitute this x into that formula. But now I know a lot of you don't like dealing with fractions. It actually makes it easy for you to make mistakes. Can you see, guys? So in case if you get to this kind of situation, just try to then make y the subject of the formula, okay, and see if you've got a linear equation without any fractions. I can still continue with this x being y over 2 plus 4. I will still get the right answer, but you know, it will be a bit difficult for you to do it that way, in case if you don't like working with fractions. So that's why I'm going to remove all of this and now make the y the subject of the formula. Okay, and remember, you can make y the subject of the formula from this equation or that equation. Okay, but now let me just make it from the first equation. So obviously I'm just moving everything to that side, then it means I'll remain with this y, which is y is going to be equals to, obviously when you move it to this side it's going to be plus x, then you have 2x, which is 2x minus 3. Okay, this is now my equation 3. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let's now substitute equation 3 into equation 2. Okay, so in place of y, or wherever we see y, we just substitute this. Okay, so let's see, we've got 2x minus 3, we substituted it there, then minus x, which is that x, is equals to 30 minus, this is 30 minus, then we just substitute in place of x, in place of y, we substitute that value. Okay, so now let's remove the brackets. You have 1 obviously there, it multiplies, you have 2x minus 3 minus x, which is that x, it's equals to 30. You also have 1 there, just like 1 there. Difference was, that was positive 1, this is now negative 1. Multiply by negative 1, you have negative 2x, and then you multiply by 1, becomes positive 3. Okay, remember, multiplied by negative 1. Okay, so now move all you know, the numbers with the letters to the left, and move all the numbers to the right. Okay, so what I mean is, remember I've got 2x minus x is the same as 1x. Then you move this to the left, it's going to change the sign, it becomes positive 2x, it's equals to. Okay, you have 30 and 3, what is this? This is 33, isn't it? So that means you've got 33. You move all the numbers, remember you have that number there to the right, then you add, it becomes plus 3. Okay, guys, I hope I haven't made any mistakes so far. Okay, I assume I've done everything correctly. I haven't made any mistake. So now you've got what is it? You've got x plus 2x, which is obviously 3x, which is equals to 36. Okay, so now you just divide by 3 so that it cancels, and then you divide by 3. Now what is you can just punch on a calculator. 36 divided by 3 is equals to 12. Okay, very much important, guys. So that means your x value is equals to 12. Okay, so now you can now use this answer to substitute into equation 3 so that you get the y value. Okay, so this is y, it's equals to 2 into 12 minus 3. I know this is 2 times 1, it's 2, 2 times 2, it's 4, minus 3, then it's equals to 21. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that means let me now replace these answers that I got. Remember, this is x, this is y. Okay, so I got 12 as x, that means my x is 12, then my y is 21. Okay, very much important, guys. I assume you understood the process that I've gone through. And remember, this question was allocated how many marks? I think it was four. It was allocated 4 marks. Okay, very much important, guys. Let's now try to check if these two answers are correct. Okay, remember, the first CD must be the same. Okay, so that means when we subtract, we should get the same answer. Okay, so let's see. On your calculator, you can just punch. I don't think you'll be able to see on my screen, but I assume you've got a calculator. Just punch 12 minus 3 is equals to 9. Just write 9 there. Let's move to 21 minus 12. I pray it gives us 9. Ladies and gentlemen, this is promising. Let's now test the last one. 30 minus 21 is equals to 9. So guys, I'm now confident that this question it's correct, and I hope you believe that I do deserve a glass of water. Let me just quickly have a glass of water. You can take a deep breath in the meantime. So guys, I hope you fully understood what I've done there, guys. Very much important. Please do try to tackle this question by your own. Remember, this question this question paper is posted on my Telegram channel. If you've got a Telegram account, you can just search for Solving Exam Papers. I've posted it there. You can quickly access this question paper and try to solve this question. So now let's get to that part where I show you where you score some marks. Okay, so obviously, guys, we'll give you a mark for you remember there's somewhere where you equated this first CD. Okay, so we give you a mark there, we give you a mark there. Very much important, guys. This shows that you fully understand. This shows that you come from good hands. Okay, so we just give you a mark for those two. Okay, guys, there's no need for us to give you any marks there. We assume this is grade 10 stuff. You are just solving. There's nothing tricky there, so we don't give you any marks. But instead, we'll give you a mark for your x value, and again, we'll give you a mark for your y value. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is how you score. This is how you score your 4 marks for this question. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you did enjoy, please give this video a like You can just comment if need be. So guys, I use your comments to guide me in terms of my next lessons. So if you just indicate the chapters that you're struggling with, and again, if you'd like me to do more of this type of questions, you can just indicate, and then from there, in that way, I won't be choosing the chapters which I think are difficult, whereas they are easy for you. It's best if I do what you're struggling with. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. My name is Desmond, and I'm out.